Danny Gathone for Pro Boxing Fans at the Doubletree Hilton in Manchester. Pleasure to be joined by a man who's going to have a very busy night on Friday night, Jamie Moore. Jamie, how are we?
I'm alright, mate, you?
Yeah, not too bad. As I say, busy night. We'll work from the top down. Pat Brown, as was alluded to up there, one of the biggest build-ups. The red carpet's been rolled up for him. But showtime now. How's he feeling ahead of Friday? Big night for him.
Yeah, you know, he's cool, calm, collected. He's that type of character. He takes it all on board. You know, takes it all in his stride. He doesn't really want or crave any type of attention. His main focus is the boxing, and you can see there, you know, he knows he's obligated to do stuff like this, but it's just not in him to sort of thrive off it. He just does it as like a job, and then he'll just look forward to going in there and getting the job done.
When there's so much attention on a fighter, particularly on their debut, how does that change your role as a trainer? Obviously, you'll go in there, there'll have things you'll have wanted to work on, get him adapting the pro style, but in the back of his mind, I'm sure it's in his head to go in and bowl that fella out of there. How is it managing those two sort of contrasts? Do
you know what? I mean, in all honesty, I've got a bit of experience in dealing with something like that because of the work what we did with Frampton. You know, Frampton's like an absolute god in Belfast. So you know, having to go over to Belfast and deal with that type of stuff early on, it stood us in good stead for this, because obviously Pat's nowhere near that level yet. But I'm anticipating, I've got a feeling that as time goes on and he builds and his career, you know, manoeuvres in the direction it's going to go in, and things get bigger, that's going to be the type of attention he's going to get. So yeah, it's always good to have that bit of experience under the belt, and you know, luckily we've got that with us.
Cameron Vaughn, Jordan Flynn, we are finally here. You could definitely tell Cameron was just sick of the talking.
Yeah. He's sick of talking about it, and he's also sick of Jordan Flynn. He's painful. It is, in all honesty, it's just cringy, and you know, the sooner we get there Friday night, get the job done, the better.
So all the talk about the Gavin Gwynn fight got to Cameron. Obviously, Jordan was saying he got punched up, lost every round. I think most people had a much closer fight than that.
I don't think any of it's got to Cameron. It's just like painful, you know. Like, it was a close fight, could have gone either way. He got the win. I thought he won it by a round, and Gavin Gwynn's a brilliant fighter. The reason why we took the fight with Gavin for Cameron was because we knew it was going to be difficult, and that was the point in taking it, to make sure that in the long run he's better from it. Because the fact of the matter is, he's still very early on in his career, and he's only had 7 fights. So to try and belittle a performance against someone like Gavin Gwynn like that, when he absolutely dogged it out with a very good fighter, it's just insane, and it's not even worth conversation, to be honest.
And the man to your left, Conor Tudsbury, very impressive debut, first time. Is there anything in particular you want to see from him in the second pro fight? Obviously more of the same.
Hey, listen, and Conor's not got an easy task. You know, he's not an easy opponent by any stretch of the imagination. But you know, Robbie's a good, solid fighter, good amateur in the background. But Conor's a top prospect, and you know, if he's going to go somewhere in the sport, he should be beating people like this, and he will do. I feel like it's going to be an explosive performance. He's much better in this training camp again, because we've got the full training camp from his debut. He's got that experience a little bit now, and your debute's always sort of a nerve-wracking experience. So I think there was a little bit of adrenaline in that first round, in the first fight. He settled down nice and got the job done in the second. So I feel like he'll carry that through now to the next one.
Jamie, just away from Saturday night, obviously Jack Catterall, we're waiting news of his next move. I saw Sam Jones saying, you know, if any of the fighters on that May the 2nd card pull out, we're ready, be that welterweight 140. So Jack Catterall, I'm guessing, back in the gym working away. Yeah,
he's been back in a couple of weeks now, taking over, and he's been sparring back this week. And yeah, any big fights, certainly those ones in such a stage like that, Jack would be more than willing to step in, and he'd be ready to go.
I saw George Kambosos and Jack had a very respectful exchange on Twitter. A lot of, as I say, respect there, but they'd both be willing for the fight. That's obviously, I'm sure, one, even though it's not for a world title, at the time of doing the interview, it's one you would be interested in.
Yeah, Jack's always said, you know, he's at the stage of his career now. He lost the split decision for the interim world title. He doesn't want to go back doing 10 rounders against sort of nobodies. He needs to stay at that level now, and for the next 2-3 years, or however long he's in the sport, he wants to just be involved in the bigger type of fights. So Kambosos is a massive name in the sport. He's always been there or around the top end of the top 5 in the division, and it's a fantastic fight.
Do you see Jack's immediate future still at 140? Obviously, the Josh Taylor trilogy fight's gained a bit more traction, with Josh moving up to 147. Jack, whilst he's never had any massive problems making the weight, he's been at 140 for a while. Is a move to welterweight potentially something on the cards?
It's not something he needs to do. Like you say, he is a little tight at 140, but everyone who's doing it right is always tight at the little. You know, he's probably a little bit in between. Those last 2 or 3 pounds are really hard to get off. But you know, if there was a big fight offered at 147, then I'm sure it's something he'd sort of look at. And even a catchweight maybe with Josh Taylor, say 144. If people want to see the trilogy, then why not do that?
Jamie, I've not spoke to you since we've had all the madness around Eubank Jr, Conor Benn. Now, everyone who I've interviewed about it's either sort of split in their opinions. I know Simon Jordan, he claims the fight doesn't do much for him, neither fighter at world level, bit of a circus. But then the eyeballs, it's going, people will say it's good for boxing. What sort of side of the fence do you sit on?
Listen, I've got nostalgia vibes because I was always a big Nigel Benn fan. It you know, takes me back to being like 12, 13, 14, watching the first fight and the second fight. I think you can't, if people are saying both guys aren't world level fighters and it's not a world class fight, it's just the fighting off the dad's names, they're not telling lies. That's literally what it is. But nevertheless, it's an occasion. Sometimes fights what take place, they're not based on the level of the fight against two fighters going against each other. You know, a lot of the times it's created by a rivalry or, you know, some sort of something what's happened, and this is exactly one of them, and it's been created by the dads years ago, and then they followed it through, and they both had good careers in their own right, but the divisions apart, and you know, the only reason why they're fighting is because of what the dads did years ago. So, but fair play to him. This is a hard sport, and it's very, very difficult to earn a lot of money in it. And if you find a way to do it, then I take my hat off to you. You know, go and do it. You know, if I could do it, I would do it, because I was in Fight of the Year 3 times. Retired, and I was in debt. I had no money, retired with nothing. So if people can make a hell of a lot of money out of it, like Conor Benn and Eubank Jr, then fair play to you.
You talk about the money side. We saw Chris slapped with £100,000 fine. Now, it's one of the biggest fines I think I've seen in the sport. I've seen people saying, look, he's getting this fine, and then he's probably made everyone involved with the fight a lot more money to the eyeballs. What were your thoughts on that fine?
Well, listen, it doesn't fit the offence, does it? It's way too big. But in many ways, you might look at it and say it was a £100,000 advert because got everyone talking. You know, maybe an egg company could sponsor him or something like that. Now, there's loads of different ways you can look at it, but the fact of the matter is it was way too high. As I mentioned this before, just because they're earning a lot of money doesn't mean you should be able to fine them more money. You know, if somebody else did that here today, they wouldn't be getting £100,000 fine. If I get fined 30 quid for speeding and a multi-millionaire gets fined for speeding, they don't get fined more because they're earning more money. They get the same fine as me. So I think it's a little bit out of order.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but how have we got to the stage where people are talking about a fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua?
Are they?
Jake called him out, and apparently AJ's up for it.
To be honest with you, I've not seen that. I'm trying my best at the minute. I keep getting bollocks off my missus for being on social media, so I'm trying my best to stay off social media because it ain't good for you. I keep scrolling. When I've got a bit of spare time, I keep scrolling. It's not good for you, so I'm trying to stay away. So I haven't heard those rumours, I'm sorry.
It does melt your head when you're scrolling constantly as well.
Exactly, it's an addiction, dopamine addiction. I'm trying to get away from it. I've been reading up about it, so I'm done. I'm trying to do with it.
You're 100% right. Could chat about that all day actually, but I'll leave the final word on some very sad news over the weekend. George Foreman and Colin Hart. Now, I know Colin's someone you'll have seen loads around boxing, and yeah, just really sad, just two sort of icons in different ways in the sport passing away.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, my condolences go out to the families, and it's never nice losing someone. You know, big characters in the sport like those two. So yeah, me prayers and condolences with the families.
Jimmy Moore, all the best for your time, all the best on Friday night. Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate.